And I'm glad we mentioned a little bit about the AAC, and I'm glad that UConn is back in the Big East, so to speak. But now we know UMass is leaving for the MAC in all
Yeah.
sports. They're leaving the Atlantic 10. So let's say UConn leaves the Independence. We don't know when. It could be after this year or next year. We don't know.
Right.
What's going to happen to the men's basketball program and the women's basketball program and the other sports? Are they going to have to say goodbye to their friends in the Big East, or are they safe in the Big?
I don't think anyone's safe in any conference. That would be my first thing. I mean, think about it. Florida State just applied to leave the ACC. I mean, after they got left out of the college football playoffs, so they're suing to not pay their whatever that's called, like where they have to leave and they leave early, so they owe the ACC $90 million or something crazy like that. So I don't think that I could say there's a good option, and I know there's rumors about the Big 12, especially with Oklahoma and Texas leaving next year for the SEC. Now I know Arizona and Colorado are coming in. I wouldn't hate a Big 12 UConn team that would also elevate their football program, because we all know in order for basketball to continue to succeed at a high level, there has to be some revenue coming from the football team. Some. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to be great. I mean, Kansas has had a awful football program for 50 years, and they're still pretty good in basketball. So you can do it. I mean, even Duke, I can't stand Duke. Can't stand it. Can't stand what they stand for. I respect their coaches and their players, kind of. But I can't stand the logo. I can't stand anything that Duke is about. But they've sucked in football for years. They're pretty good last year. They got ranked, played Notre Dame pretty tough. But it's like, you can do it. But in the new era of what college is about, I know that UConn is making a lot of investments into NIL, investments into these collectives, investments into groups to help kind of push their initiatives. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Big 12 came calling, if they made a business decision and said, we love our friends in the Big East. We love playing in Madison Square Garden. But if we have to go play a Big 12 tournament because we have home at homes against Kansas, against Houston, against Texas Tech, I mean, Cincinnati, like an old AAC foe, I wouldn't hate it. And also I can go visit my friend Wes Miller at Cincinnati and wear my UConn hat and sit in the front row. That'd be funny. But no, I it's one of those things. Would it suck to leave the Big East? Absolutely. I missed the Big East when we went to the AAC. Winning a title in 2014 didn't kind of help that a little bit. But it's business is business, man. And if the Big 12 comes calling and you're going to put your football team and invest in, getting more recruits because of you're in the Big 12, I think you'd see a quick turnaround. Jim Mora is not an AAU coach. The guy is a pretty good football coach, right? So I think we could do it. But that's my answer. Nobody's safe. It's funny you use UMass as the catalyst for that question. I haven't thought about UMass being relevant in probably 20 years. I don't mean that as a slight to you. I kind of
Okay.
I kind of think it's funny because UMass has been so irrelevant since they had that kind of crazy, like what mirrored UConn, right? Kind of a small school that started to ascend, and then Calipari went there and essentially paid for players. They had stuff come out with Marcus Camby and all that group. So it's just funny. They've done, UConn has been here and UMass has done this as far as their entire program. This is nothing against their kids. I'm sure they work really hard, but the only thing I'm thinking about at UMass is taking one of their players in the transfer portal next year. That's it.